Yes, hello. This is a vibrational or frequency question, and I'd like to see if it could be added more collectively, but it's mainly for you, Greg. I know approximately 20 years ago in the 90s, there was a consistent measurement of the Earth's either frequency or vibration. Now it's more than double. I'm curious if they looked at how there may be a pattern in the changing of the Earth's vibration with discoveries of internet, or even again, as if the Earth is moving into a alpha, Earth is moving towards gamma. And the effect that has, because I know we've been seeing it. I heard it's possibly 16% or whatever. I'm not sure I'm not a scientist, but I'd love to hear you speak on that, and I'd like to know if there's any biological or other possible correlations that relate to this vibrational increase. And the sun and the heliosphere, do they interact with this?
That's three questions right there.
Well, is it Earth? Is it only Earth, or is it again heliosphere? Because the sun and the Earth are linked. So
man, that's four questions.
Okay.
Okay, I understand. What's your name?
Anirudhan.
Thank you. So the question, I'll just begin. The field that you're referring to, in 1958, the first satellites were launched in the orbit around the Earth to see what's happening on our planet. We didn't know. We were guessing, but we didn't really know. And one of the things that was discovered was that there is it's called the Schumann cavity resonance, is the technical term, that envelops the Earth, and immediately it was kind of hush-hush because the military began using it for communications. So you don't see a lot in the open literature. See more now, not as much as did, or more now than we did back in the 90s. So this is Schumann cavity resonance is what it's called, and it's not a single frequency. The base frequency is 7.8 hertz, 7.8 cycles per second, and then it goes in intervals that are integer multiples. So the next one is about 15 cycles per second. And what happens is Earth goes through periods of time where one or another of these is dominant. So right now, the 15 cycles per second seems to be a little bit more dominant, but it hasn't been replaced. It's just that they ebb and they flow. And where this gets really interesting is the magnetic fields of the Earth are a big part of this. This is what they're measuring. And human emotion, specifically heart-based emotions, directly affect the Schumann cavity resonance. So what this is saying, we've all heard that the brain is the master organ in the body, and when I was in school, I was taught that the brain was the only electrical and magnetic field in the body. We know that's not true. The heart has an electrical and a magnetic field that's actually stronger than the brain. They work together. So that is a little background, and the reason this is important, 9/11 taught scientists how deeply this relationship between humans and our planet actually goes. This magnetic field, this Schumann resonance, the magnetic field, it's so important. Scientists measure it every 30 minutes. Our satellites send the data back because it affects everything is linked to this field. Every blade of grass, every hamster, every goldfish, every CEO of every corporation, every leader of every nation. There is no them and us. There's a we when it comes to this field. So they want to know what's happening with the field. One day, the satellites showed this big spike. I mean, it was like off the charts. I wish I had the slide. I'd show it to you here. Off the charts, and scientists said, what on earth is happening on Earth to create this spike? And they laid it on the calendar, and it was 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, September 11th, 2001, 15 minutes after the first plane hit the first tower of the World Trade Center. They feel that it took about 15 minutes for the media to carry the images around the world through television and through the satellites. And now what they attribute that spike to, this is why I'm sharing this, is hundreds of millions or possibly billions of people simultaneously seeing these images or having a heart-based experience, the strongest magnetic field in the body. And it was the combined experience of hundreds of millions of human hearts that elevated, that spiked the magnetic field of the Earth. Now, this is news to scientists because they've always told us that we're separate from the Earth, that we don't have any effect. Humans aren't supposed to be able to affect the magnetic field of a planet. Okay, here's why it's important. if you remember at least the first couple of days after 9/11, we were truly a global family. People came together in a way that they had never come together in modern times. Scientists attribute that to a high magnetic field. The higher the field, the less aggressive we are. This is the relationship. The stronger the magnetic field of the earth, the less aggressive we are, the more willing we are to cooperate. So the question is, can we create that without having a tragedy like 9/11 to do it? The answer is yes. The Institute of Heart Math is now created something called the Global Coherence Initiative, GCI, where they have established sensors on the surface of the earth and are teaching people how to create heart-brain coherence to mitigate the effects of what's happening in our world and in the field today. And the results, Princeton University was a pioneer in working with this. IONS is a part of this now. Institute of Noetic Sciences, I talked about yesterday, Heart Math. So there is a direct relationship between human emotion and these fields in the earth when we, in our lives, so I'm going to bring it right down to our everyday lives, when we can embody appreciation, gratitude, care, compassion in our lives, when we establish this heart-brain relationship, we are feeding the very field that connects all of us in a positive way. You're feeding it right now. The question is, do you know what you're feeding it? So this is now an opportunity to consciously influence these fields. So I'm all about context. Here we are at the end of a big cycle, the beginning of another one, when there's this push for war that never has to happen, when science is telling us more about ourselves and that we're not what we believed and we're more than we've ever sensed in the past. And just when we need it the most, we're coming full circle and realizing that we as individuals, collectively as a community, have the ability to influence the fields of the earth that bring peace to our planet. Isn't that beautiful? Well, I can't think of a better way to do it. So